Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Zwift Community Live broadcast of the Zwift Racing League presented by WTRL 2022-23 season. We're in round 2, race number 3, and we are heading out onto the 2 bridges loop. I'm Nathan Guerra. Dave Towle is next to me. We're in with the Dave. We were talking about this in pre-productions. What are you in with? EMEA East Women's Division 1. We've got the current reigning world champion. We've got 6 laps, 6 sprints, and this is going to be interesting how they're going to play this day because the racers make the race out here today, and I have a feeling it could go one of two ways. They could be watching each other a lot, waiting for sprints, but we could also see a lot of breakaway situations depending on what these racers want to do.
Yeah, I hazard to say that I have a feeling this is going to get split up with the counterattacking coming after the sprints, and that's probably going to happen pretty early, is my guess. There's a window of opportunity there. So I saw some riders earlier today. By the way, shout out to Martin and WTRL. Over 20,000 racers, Nathan, taking part in the ZRL right now. And a big part of that is the engine of WTRL that helps drive everything. And so because of that, we've already had people racing out here today. And I saw some saying, boy, the toughest part was hanging in the group after the sprint. So that's why I expect the real dynamic moments to be playing out here. Long day today as well, kind of some old school esports racing, right? 43 kilometers over 6 laps. So this hits, I would say, the higher end of the spectrum as far as distance, just the endurance element.
Yeah, so we are in with, just so chat knows, I know some questions going to come through right away, and I absolutely love it that we want people, that we have people wanting to know what we covering, and so many people in for the coverage. So EMEA East Women's Division 1, and then we will also be on what looks to be something that's really heating up in some pretty well-known esports teams, actually, with the EMEA West South Open Division 1 for the men for their 43 kilometers and 6 laps. Now, we just had the first sprint take place. Let's go ahead and take a look at how that ended up playing out as they headed into the Essies, and then we'll jump right on into the first climb as well out on course. And as you can see, as they jumped on over toward the first sprint, it was Rose, Beast Mode presented by Rose, that actually it looked like take a little bit of a kick off the front here. Interesting move. This wasn't quite enough, it looks like, to try and get away with some actual points. It ended up being more of a lead out, I believe. But there is Beast Mode presented by Rose off the front. We'll see if we can get an idea of exactly who the rider is here that went for it, but it does look like it is going to be beat by Ify. Is how I'm going to pronounce that in game here. And she was off the front, solid 6.3 watts per kilogram. Solid kick, but 8.7 watts per kilogram, 57 kilometers per hour, though not going to be quite enough. Not even getting a super tuck. We do see the punch coming from Cryogen with Jay Eck, but that's a drafty power up, not an arrow power up. Over the top with the arrows, it looks like Embreen then was next from SZ to try and come over the top of that, but then Team NL with a super solid kick. Vanderplas, it looks like, taking out the top points. Adegeist was right on the heels there, it looked like, as well. Lots of big names as they came through for that first sprint. The ladies are heading right on into their first climb then as well. Things are going to be coming back together, but that was the first sprint out there, Dave, and that's going to be some solid in the double digits orange number kicks, I think, every single lap. Tiring out there today, most likely.
The biggest difference, I think, Nathan, between racing today and racing 2 years ago is that 2 years ago, that sprint would have blown this group up. Here's a big name chasing back in. Must have been a little bit of a technical issue there, because she will rejoin, talking about Norden right now. But
She
Nathan,
needs
the
to
number
right
of
now,
riders,
Dave. Right now.
yeah,
Like,
good
'cause the
point.
other side of this, no joke,
It
speed, right?
flips. Absolutely. And the dynamics of the game, they just go rocketing off. And as a solo rider, yeah, she knows that, Nathan. But that's a really good call, is that timing that poorly is the difference of being in this pack and finishing the race, being a part of this, or having a big game over. Okay. And you can see they're hitting out now, Nathan. So there's Maria Marr, Rose Beast Mode rider. There's some lot of talent out here. We were talking about having the world champion joining us, Los Adigis. That's extremely cool. There's Lou Bates in this field as well. Lou has been phenomenal over the last month, and so we're starting to see things ratchet up. Talking about world championships, that's coming up in February 18th, 2023. Nathan, this is brutal out here right now.
Absolutely, and this is a warm-up situation, it looks like, as we're gonna get week in
Yikes.
and week out. We do have two ladies categories that we do, or divisions that we do cover from the European, the West and the East, that are an hour separated, and we switch back and forth between the two throughout the season, and we just get essentially a highlight of what we may see coming up, not only in the World Championships, but also I feel like in the Zwift Grand Prix, obviously with a little bit different formats. But look at the break already here, Dave. We thought perhaps it was going to come back together for Norden, but it wasn't even the riders that were on the pack that were able to hang on after that kick off the front. Adigist, actually, our current world champion, taking over at the front. Now, it's great to see the rainbow jersey in game, actually, as she's able to don that and riding for the Ionian team. Be on the watch out for them. We'll be getting the league standings up here in just a moment, as well as the segment points and how they stand as we are heading into week 3. 1 lap down, it looks like, in a little under 10 minutes of racing for 6 laps. We're going to have a little bit under an hour of racing, perhaps. We'll see if this speeds up or slows down, Dave.
Yeah, that was quick. No doubt about it. It's funny. I would say it's probably going to stay pretty close to the same, at least for the next lap out here, as they have made a selection out there over this lap. And I think things stabilize a little bit, but they'll keep the pace high, no doubt about it. So, all right, taking a look at that front group, Nathan, it looks like maybe a day of attrition, to tell you the truth. This is Two Bridges, 43 total kilometers of racing. Yeah, first lap well under 10 minutes there. Felice, the Polish rider. I saw the World Cup game. As we went into the broadcast, Nathan, it was tied Mexico and Poland 0-0. See, I got the Felice there. I'm sure she probably knows the score of that game. This group might get back on, Nathan. See this? Gap is a little bit larger. This perspective makes it look maybe closer than it is, but they're within a shout.
7 seconds. You could jump some orange numbers to get across here if they have anything left in the tank. But if they did get dropped, Dave, a lot of times, right, you end up there's a reason why you're back there, perhaps, and one of those reasons may be that you were in a little inattention. Jane Despos, though, this is a rider who can get across. She kicks at 6 watts per kilogram. She can see that it's slowing, and she's going to do it. This is great, Dave. As we look at this perspective, 4 seconds. If nobody presses the pace through the SEs, and they're going to be slowing down a tad in just a moment here in order to get ready for this next sprint. She read the situation perfectly, jumps across, and as they slow for she can just ride through them.
Right
it's like that would be so great, actually, if she just kept on. But and she's at 157 now. That's one rider who I think can get that done. Not sure that the rest of them can do so. I think everybody else back there's hurting pretty bad. Despos, I think, was just caught out at a bad moment.
So there's really 2 reasons why you would have been in that second group where Jane Despos was. Either you were inattentive or you weren't strong enough. And it looks like, well, obviously in Jane's case, it was a moment of inattention or just getting caught out in the wrong part of the group. But she makes up for that and gets right back into the thick of things here with the Socks for Watts team. I saw Claire a little bit earlier on that squad. She's a rider I've got my eye on out here today, no doubt about it. So that's how you right the ship. And you were right, Nathan, that momentary pause, well, that has ended, and they're back at it now, as you can hear the crack of the whip out there. And I don't think see how they were very close. Jane was very smart to go across by herself rather than hoping that the group would all come across and she wouldn't have to burn that match. I'll give her a tactical savvy award there, Nathan. She knew she was strong enough to do it, and she caught the train at the right time, because I don't think any other riders make it back into this group. I hope I'm wrong for their sake, Nathan, but I think Despos will be the only survivor off of that lifeboat.
Yeah, most likely. And if they do get across here at this point, Dave, I don't think it's happening. It's the ramp out's happening now here, and it's going to be about the minor placings if they can grab any placings and any points back there at all. Here we go with Martin now at the front. This is going to be the second kick to the line for the points. We'll see if we can get some of those points for the first time around in just a moment here. But this course is so quick, Dave. It just continues to come at you. They barely get any reprieve. They sprinted about 10 minutes ago. Now it's going to be a go again. Every 10 minutes or so, it's an all-in sprint effort for 6 laps plus the finish line. Now the ramp up to see if anybody's learned anything about how to do this one. And this is about when the kick comes. 61 kilometers per hour. Adagis now goes 12 watts per kilogram. Is there going to be an aero power up? No, but her teammate Aeonian coming through. It's going to be Swan, but look at the swarm now, Dave. Coming through. Blue Bates, 12 watts per kilogram, but it's going to be Embreen and Bates to the line. I think Embreen just getting Lou Bates for the first place points, but points all the way scored through 10, fastest through segment, first across the line. But here's the thing, Dave, with lap after lap after lap, fastest through segment is going to be changing up a little bit here and there, right, Dave? I mean, it isn't going to be FAL every lap, but fastest through every lap can be set, and maybe some riders reserving something for later for some high speeds.
I couldn't agree more, Nathan. And look at the group strung out now. This course is a sleeper. On paper, it doesn't look as exciting as it is. You know, Nathan, we've come to say races make the race because they really do. And this is a great example of that. So Aeonian and Fuego out here today. So it looks like the world champion, Los Adagis, Nathan, is starting to come into her own as well as we really start getting into the thick of the esports season right now. This is, I would say, 10, 15 of the riders racing in this race will be in the World Championships coming up in February. There's Cryo to the front. It's spicy. It's really spicy out there. I don't know, on the Scoville scale that I'd say we're into the triple digits, but we're certainly in the double digits out here, just kind of scanning around. I think we've weathered that last storm, but Nathan, we're really only a quarter of the way into this race.
Yeah, now taking a look at one of the riders, like under 23 rider coming out of the Netherlands, professional in real life. It looks like Kit, level 18 Zwifter though, very new to the world of Zwift racing. It does look like she did the Zwift Racing League back in January of this year. So she did participate in one of the EMEA Central, as it looks like a pickup, but looks like she's gotten her Zwift Racing legs underneath her for this season, as she's jumped in and grabbed a second place finish actually in the first go. And Team NL, I think, is performing pretty well. So we'll see how this rider fares, and she's, I think, somebody to maybe be watching out for as she picks up some of her Zwift craft. There is some learning curve, isn't there, Dave, when it comes to, you might have the power profile, you might be really savvy when it comes to racing and tactics in real life, but sometimes it doesn't always translate over quickly, but once you figure it out, suddenly that lungs on a bike starts showing up with the Zwift craft.
I feel like that's an understatement, to tell you the truth. Zwiftcraft is something I way underestimated. I'm still learning a lot, but Nathan, that is something you have to respect. And, on that team, going back to, I'm going to go for the pronunciation on that one as like. With all my Dutch experience.
Yeah, I mean, you hang out. I mean,
right?
You hang out there a lot more than I do. So I think you're going to have a better call on that one. Thanks, Dave.
Right. But so on her team is Mikey van der Plas, who's been up there in some of the sprints earlier. And I think that that's a great person to learn a lot about how to play the game element of Zwift. And it's funny you say level 18 Zwifter. That doesn't really tell. It's like the saying I use, fitness is like a house with no windows. You can't see inside someone. And that number doesn't really tell you anything definitively about how good they're going to be at this or are right now at esports, but it does tell you that they haven't Zwifted a lot. That's for sure, because the first few levels of Zwift go by very, very quickly. It's not until you get into the 20s that, you have to really start dedicating yourself and spending many, many hours to start checking those boxes. So she hasn't Zwifted a lot, but she's certainly got a tremendous amount of talent. And I don't
Well, the
think there's
glasses
anyone
is
who
what
just,
I'm in for, Dave. The glasses, that's
you know,
really what I'm in for here. So, I mean, these things are amazing. I just got to be honest.
I
All right.
couldn't agree more. Yeah.
Sorry, there's moves going off the front, but those glasses were just too much. I had to say something on those. A little bit of
They
kicks
just
off the
hit
front
right.
here. They really did. Now, is there someone I'm seeing a second place here? Where? Nope, they're all here. So everybody's still together here. Nobody really dropping off the back. Just as well, we've got
Yeah.
4 or
Yeah.
5. It looks like this is actually ending up being a tougher climb for some of these riders than I thought it was going to be. We see Male, DM. We've also got De Jong here, Tanya here, also from ESRT off the back, the German rider. So this is 4 riders that really got to get things ramping up. You can see 64 kilometers per hour at the front, though, with this main pack, 70 kilometers per hour. Huge difference in speed, Dave, when it comes to the larger packs.
Yeah, holy cow. Um, and this goes to show you exactly the racers making the race, because you expected these to be somewhat rhythmic, steady climbs out here. Well, at some point they dropped the hammer, and let's see now who has survived. I got the fleece. The Polish rider did make it up into this front group, but there's, in my estimation here, at least a dozen riders who are really going to be fighting. Looks like most of the Sox for Watts team they've got a rejuvenated effort going on right now from that squad, and that's good to see out here. It's not just Claire Martin who's coming on strong right now as we make our way here back around, completing lap number 2. Thank you, Nathan. Segment points popping up now. FAL first across the line. FDS is fastest through segment, and you can see that Lou Bates is doing what Lou Bates does. Tremendous job here with 37 points when you tally those. It's going to be a bunch of Swedes here. The Vikings lining it up is Danell, London, and Embring, 30, 25, and 20 points respectively. They're all for that Swedish Swifters team, that powerhouse squad out of Scandinavia. Then you've got, we're talking about Mike van der Plas. That's the Dutch NL racing team. And she's got 19 points. And then world champion Los Adagist with 8, tied there with Swan, Gutschke 7 with Tennille Irish there, and then Gagstrom with 6. So thanks, Nathan, for bringing that up. We'll keep our eyes on those points, and then I'll throw it back to you. As these are the team league standings that we're looking at now as we're getting into 2022-2023 season 2, and this is race 3. We've already done 2.
This may update live too. I'm not positive. I'm going to get some information from productions here if we can when it comes to the data, because would be really interesting is I'm seeing the FAL and the FTS come through, and I'm wondering with 3 races on the board there if this is just going to update live for us when it comes to the points as they actually are coming through, and be able in real time see how things change throughout the race and what they have to do to get the most points when it comes to the end of the race once we get into 5-6 laps in. That'll be really interesting. But this is as it is, and as you can see in the second, third, and fourth there with Team SC, you can see the consistency from them. They might not be the top team with Sox Watts sitting there with Lou Bates, but obviously that's not what matters when it comes to a team game, right, Dave? There's so many roles to play here. Team NL ladies, though, look at this. Where are they suddenly come from, Dave? They are showing up as a new team, I feel like, in this season.
Wow, and what a threat they're going to be. It's not just Micah van der Plas on that team, obviously. Consistency. And Nathan, it's really something I want to go back to the start of that comment. It is so different when you're racing as a team and looking to win these events versus coming in as a team trying to get one individual to win the outright race. It's not about that. Yeah, there are a lot of points there, and that doesn't hurt in your bid, but it's about stacking the top 10. And it's decidedly different racing in ZRL here. Zwift Racing League with WTRL is not the same as Zwift Grand Prix now. They're really completely different things. Oh, nah, well, I don't know if I'd say completely different, Nathan, but they really are defining themselves in really fun and different ways. So back to you here as we make our way through the first third of the racing. These are the women that have survived through what's been a relatively tough first 22 minutes of racing out here. Only the strong survive, as we say.
Yeah, it really has been. And as they move their way into the next sprint, it feels like it was only a few seconds ago that they did it the last one, Dave. We barely had time to catch up on everything that had happened. That board will update live, which is both amazing and also we need to remember where things stood at the beginning. Tennille Irish with an early move. This is interesting to see. We'll see if she can hold on to this. There's 10 watts per kilogram. It's a good move, actually, the way that she's doing it. If she gets right up in the 57 kilometers per hour and get into a super tuck and continue on with this, there might be the distance here, Dave. Once in a while, it does work. She gets down into super tuck, perhaps range, now at 59, 60. She does not super tuck. She's going to continue on and look if she can get a second kick here at 62, Dave. They're going to come through at 70 kilometers per hour in just a moment, but I think she's got the distance, Dave. Barely ever works 2 seconds. I think she's going to just barely hold on.
Savvy. This woman's been doing her work, no doubt about it. It's really easy to be cheering for someone who's betting on themselves like Tennille Irish, and she's got it, Nathan. So Polanowski there, the German rider, going to come through.
Adegeist, actually. That was Adegeist for second.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, the world champion, actually taking the second place points. Nice job on her. I think the German rider, though, was right behind her. This is the danger point, though, right, Dave? That
sure is.
The counter to that sprint, like especially the third time in, people want to start sitting up. Perhaps you can see Tennille after getting those points way back in maybe a second, third group forming now. If anybody attacks over the top in this section, Dave, when you go through here, we race out on this for Seaside Sprint on a little bit of a shorter lap, and we hit this section over and over again. And these cobbles, Dave, they actually slow you not as much as dirt, but just a little bit, to where you could maybe cause a little bit of mayhem going in this little bump of a climb in a moment.
You can see now, like, riders using that draft power up, Nathan. That's really just trying to get a recovery, I would have to think, through that sector. Would you agree with that?
100%. Oh, yeah. I mean, after the reality, like, you want to use that when you can to get as much reprieve as you can. And I would think maybe on the climb would be where a lot of riders would want to use that, perhaps. But if you're suffering through here, and the reality also is it is pretty smart tactically if you're suffering pretty hard, and there's you're into your threshold or over threshold, that's when you're actually burning the most energy stores, right? That's when you're really digging into what you have, and you only have so much of those. And so if it does get you underneath threshold quicker to do so, it will save you for later in the race. You know, a lot of times I like to use them tactically and not in a moment of urgency, but if you have to, that might be the only choice and the best choice on the day.
Kind of like your emergency cash reserve, right? That you keep hidden in the refrigerator or whatever, you know.
Refrigerator.
You don't want to use it, but
wait a second. I gotta know, chat. Who keeps money in the refrigerator? I gotta know who.
I'm just throwing you off the plot.
Yeah, I like that plot. Money in the refrigerator. Like, Mike, I gotta see it. I don't think my kids would ever find that too. So I kind of like that idea.
Yeah, I guess, right. Hide it in the.
But it's got to be like in like the beets or the sauerkraut or like some sort.
Yeah. The sauerkraut. Good call. All right. So 43K, Nathan. Doesn't seem like we do many races that are an hour long anymore out here. But these riders, that's in the range of any esport athlete these days. I mean, some of the Grand Prix events are 200 meters now. When you look at the sprints we had a few weeks ago in the squad skirmish, so anywhere from 200 meters to an hour and a half. Does that sound about right these days for what an esport athlete needs to be prepared for?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, hour and a half is pushing it even at this point. I think maybe I don't know the laps on a world championships. I mean that. Well, that's the thing with the with the Zwift Grand Prix, ZGP, as well as continental qualifiers, as well as worlds that we just saw that is coming up. I do think you're right there, Dave, that things are changing a little bit. Where there's a longer duration now that the riders might be on the bike and having a little bit more endurance, especially for the way that things are heading when it comes to the top end of esports. With cycling seems to really be pushing that edge of hour and a half to 2 hours because of these different formats that we're throwing at the riders for 2 to 3 races at a time. We're coming over the top here, though, Dave, for our third time on this climb. We'll see if things start to put a little bit more sting. We haven't seen too many splits. We've seen splits, but not entire packs at this point. Now we're starting to get, though, to where this Peloton might start to turn into breakaway situations. I would not be surprised with how much this is whittled down. Look at the back here, Dave. They look like there's some seriously struggling going on after all of these punches. 185 beats per minute from Beta and Breeley here.
Yeah, you can only go to the well so many times before the bucket comes up dry. Eva Van Acht has been one of the riders, Nathan, that's been really strong. This is attrition. If someone said, show me a race where you talk about this attrition thing, well, it would be exactly out here today, Nathan. They've gone hard. They've gone deep over and over, and eventually you just there's nothing there. You go to the engine room and they call back saying we're toast. Well, these ladies are definitely turning this one into a slugfest. We're not even halfway through, but we're getting close to that point. And you start taking a look around, and these are the heavy hitters of esports that we've got still up in this group, and it looks a lot smaller now, Nathan. And you see how it's pretty definitive. There aren't a couple riders trailing off this group. You're either in this group or you're not.
And that's the point at which riders might start thinking, okay, is there a place to get away here? And if you do get away, Dave, think about that. 30 points up for grabs, FAL. If one rider could get away, or maybe a group of riders, you've got, the 10, the 8, and the 9, or however many, maybe it's 5 riders, you're still splitting a really good amount of points for the FAL for 3 more laps. And you have finish line points. There's a lot of incentive on this course to get away. Tons of incentive because how much FAL is up ahead. And if you think FTS is kind of settled at this point, this is a great moment to start thinking about where are the crucial sections of the course that you could put a break off the front.
I want to go back and say, yes, I think FTS is settled. I'd be surprised if it wasn't, Nathan. I completely would sign off on that. I just would want to get the right mix of teams. I think you still got to get one Sox for Watts, certainly a Swedish and an Aeonian in that group. And I'd look for Loop 8, of that R3R team there as well. So this is that Peloton we're looking at. That's the finish arch. This puts us through right at halfway point now. That's a great call, and I'm going to think, Nathan, that they do exactly what you're talking about. This has to split out here. Maybe next time after. Do they make another run at the fastest through segment, or do you think they signed off on they can't really go faster than they already have through there?
I mean, with how many riders are here and the fatigue in the legs, it's starting to get to that point where there might not be enough left in the legs, and you need to start thinking about attrition now at this point. It's not so much about the sprints any longer when it comes to FTS. Maybe a couple of those, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th places for FTS may still be up for grabs, which is a lot of points still. There is a lot of points there. If you don't think you could break away, it's a tough one. It is a really tough one. Can we just call it 6 and last lap, please? We see from Tennille here. I love Tennille Irish is one of the best community,
She's funny.
Yeah, when it comes to Ali Cameron also coming in from Rave. They're asking for reprieve, and Despos says, thank you for letting me know that you're suffering, and just pushes it off the front. Absolutely love this.
This is the woman, if you go back a couple laps ago, was chasing back into this group. Now she's appearing stayed right as a star here. So Jane Despos, Sox for Watts, putting their flag up to the top of the poll right now as we take a look at this. It's got to be an invitation to come race with me, Nathan. I think that Despos is saying, who wants to roll this now? And I have a feeling a couple riders are going to accept that RSVP for that invitation and saying, we'll be right there. Let's see. Good racing going on.
She's got 4 seconds, Dave.
Look at the gap. Yeah. So this is the point now where you want people to come across. It's time to put up or shut up, right?
This is the answer moment right here. What they do on the front with these little downhills is going to tell us a lot. We'll see if we can get a camera view here to keep an eye on that pack. 3.6 watts per kilogram at the front of that pack, though, is not going to do quite enough speed to catch. It'll keep things even with the speed that they roll through with. But at 6.4 now on the downhills, Despos knows exactly what she's doing. She kicks it at the fire socks, as you can see, over threshold just a moment there with a little bit of a trail. We'll see if it goes out as she kicks over the top of this. 6.3 watts per kilogram. This is solid here, Dave. Now, there's no chase. She's going to go away, and this is going to be a 10 points if they do not put up any chase whatsoever. Charlotte Backus with a little bit of in-game chat saying, go Jane Despos. It's the Socks for Watts teammate there, and one of the leaders for sure in the community when it comes to both social media as well as leading on that Sox Watts team. Be on the watch out for Despos to hold here to the line. Now, I think, though, 10 seconds, Dave, it's going to get brought right within the catcher, and somebody might be able to jump out of the pack in that sprint and go across to her, or the whole pack is going to swarm her. It's one of those two things that's going to happen here.
This is a great example of how fierce they are, Nathan. And 2 years ago, I'd have said, well, this is over. Well, absolutely not. This is going to be interesting. Despos showing a lot of heart right now, and the chase is igniting. Not quite, though, actually. I thought maybe they were going to start hitting out. They're going to let her dangle out here for a little bit now. So still kind of 10 seconds seems to be that threshold. It is beefy. We're going to go with there. Looks like the first rose for beast mode is the team, but I think Jane's done it here. Well done.
Oh, yeah. Huge gap, actually. Yep. She's kicking a little bit, 7.2. If she can keep speed, they're going to close down a lot of distance here. As you can see it coming down very quickly. Luis Adegeist here. Look at Adegeist off the front, 11 watts per kilogram, showing us that she's got a kick. It's also going to be Vanderplas there coming through for second, Polonowski, but Adegeist is just sweeping up so many points. Sox for Watts now with Despos backs off. She knows that she's going to be caught. She's not continuing on. Is there a split behind, though? More riders falling off the back. Dave, this is going to be a Peloton. This is going to be a straggling in race of attrition group here on the front in just a moment.
Yeah, this is the first time that we haven't seen huge chunks of riders getting lopped off the back. It looks like a couple are still in battle mode trying to rejoin this group. We might lose a rider or two, but certainly
Vanderplas is done. 194. She grabbed a huge amount of points there, and she's been involved almost every lap. I think he hit almost 200 pieces per and said, that's enough. I'm done. Her and Beefy now, it looks like, going to be rolling in together. No, Beefy,
I have respect for that. She said, I got one left to give you. It's going to be some razzmatazz, but that's going to be it. Well, it's nice to leave with a handful of points, right? That's how you do it. But that's a big name to lose out of that group, and it shows you the quality of the racing, Nathan, that we've got going on. You know, so Lou Bates is at the top of the table now. This is total
reset that
points
real quick. Give us the reset on that real quickly here. And
luckily,
it may not be reset just yet. But I just wanted to highlight that Vanderplas has collected 25 points so far and 1 FTS point. So it's pretty big. I think that still needs an update just in a second here because she may have grabbed a little bit more than that. But, I mean, that's keeping them in the conversation for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's Team NL, the orange and blue jersey, and you can see they've still got good representation up in this group. The only group left on course. Tennille Irish is still hanging in there, but Nathan, I would have to say, when you look at it now, we've whittled this group down, and this is where you find that next level. Is this going to be Polonowski having a fantastic ride here? The German. I'm looking around. Lou Bates was up there. Looks like top 5 on last time I checked. There you go. There's the points. We're 47 total now, 22 in the FAL, 25 in the FDS for Lou Bates. It's London, Danelle, Adegeist, Vanderplas, Emmering, Polonowski, Irish, Ward, and Despos in that order. But Lou Bates and Fuego today, 47 points. That's more than a lot of teams have right now, Nathan.
Yeah, and I just want to highlight Vanderplas. Even though she just went off the back, she is in 5th place right now for points. And that's going to change massively as we get to the FAL for the finish line. As we get through some more laps here, we still have a few more sprints to go, but it's still huge points that she's able to pull off. She's got her teammates here up ahead. They're more racing for the finish line points, most likely, and a few more FAL. But she's done her work, Dave. She's gotten 25 points for the team. It's great to see when with the Zwift Racing League and what we have here, where riders can play their role for the team and then roll it in. And that's really what this is all about when it does come to the team tactics, isn't it? And you see at the bottom there as well, Despos and what she did. 10th place right now, grabbed her 10 points. She played a role for Sox Watts there as well.
100%. And, this is where then your teammates can, on the shoulder of giants, as they say, step up and try to deliver in the back half of the race. So we'll take some inventory for you now in this group. Again, thanks for joining us here on Zwift Community Live. It's always a pleasure to bring you the racing enhanced and really just driven forward by WTRL, World Tactical Racing League, as we're in with the EMEA, that's Europe, Middle East, and Africa East Division 1 women now. And this is one of the strongest groups of women racing on the planet right now. It's not fair to completely say this is the strongest, but it certainly would be in that conversation in that group. And we've got yet another attacker, at least a rider, just testing the waters there off the front, Nathan. But that's going to come back into the fold. Very active Socks for Watts team today. And it looks like the Norwegian Nevin is going to be the rider there taking over on the front. But Claire Martin having a great day today, sitting right in the wing. Sarah London is there. Lou Bates near the front. All right, this is a murderer's row up on the front here right now. It's racing goes to another level at this point, Nathan.
Yeah, it really does. And as you can see, Nevin over the top there for Socks for Watts, and they're going to have to grab a lot of points actually in the later half of this race. They do have riders involved here still, though. Plenty of them, to be honest. I do see plenty of the unicorn kits. Despos is here. Nevin is here. There's one other rider. I'm going to see if I can get a name on that. And Nevin is here for sure. We also have Claire Martin still, as well as Catherine Van Hun. But there's 4 riders from Sox Watts, Dave, but only 10 points on the board so far. So as this does whittle down a little bit more, and we look through at how many riders have made it, there's 31 riders here. They need to take the top third through these next FALs, as well as get the best finish line points as they possibly can. Because with all the finish line points, I mean, Lou Bates has put R3R in a. Now, is Lou Bates, who is Lou Bates riding for, though, today?
You got it. R3R.
Is she now? Is that going to
Yep.
be the correct kit as well here? Because race 3R. Okay, just double checking here that they're actually in. Because sometimes we have the guest riding,
looks
right?
like
there's
the
there's the guest
national
riding that
teams.
can happen, right? But I think it is going
Oh,
to be
yeah.
the R3R Lunatics that Bates is going to be in with right now. Is that going to be the only R3R that's made this front group, though? No, we also have Robinson
No.
here as well.
Yep.
Robinson's here as well.
Yep. And another as well. I believe it's 3 total in that Peloton. Nathan, believe me, I fully understand where you're coming from. It gets to be very interesting. With all those things being said, Lou Bates it looks to me, it's the same colors as the Canadian national team, that light blue and red that you see. But going back to the action now, this group is decidedly smaller than it was. There's 2 laps of racing remaining out here. This is the Two Bridges Loop course that we're racing on. 6 total laps today, 43 kilometers of racing. And there you go. Robinson, the R3R Lunatic rider, is another one of the women holding her head above water. Haven't shouted out Lucy Swan as well. There's a rider who's very, very impressive in the way that she's representing herself out here today and getting stronger every time we see her race.
100%. Let's go ahead and give some shout outs to everybody that's made this front group. It's a pretty elite group when you do talk about the strongest women in esports. This as well. I mean, the Division 1As, Dave, if we give everybody some idea, these are those, as you say a lot of times, the gladiators that have made it to the top end. These selections of riders are definitely not done randomly at all. These teams are drafting and looking for the best they possibly can find for these time zones. We do see Beefy most likely off the front again. She's been one of the super aggressive riders when it comes to consistency off the front and keeping the pace really high. But, we've got this division, right, Dave? This EMEA E. We've got the EMEA W West that kicks off in 20 minutes from now or so. We will not be doing any coverage of that, as we'll be covering the men's Open South in just a few moments here. But, Dave, I think when it comes to talent, you got America's East and America's West. You've got the Oceania in Asia, but I think that America's East, a little bit into the West, but America's East, this as well as that European, you've really got the mix of the top end level. Like, you're going to get 10 to 20, 30 riders or so that all have a shot at Worlds. have a shot at Zwift Grand Prix, riding for trade teams, etc. within the Zwift esports world. And then you've got a few, maybe 3 to 5 riders in some of those other divisions that it might not be quite as concentrated when it comes to the talent level.
It really speaks to the steel sharpens steel element, or iron sharpens iron, because Nathan, there's no doubt that you benefit greatly by racing against such a quality group. It's your skills, it's the mindset, and it's the ability to go just a little bit deeper. And my heart goes out to those racers that don't have a chance to get into these just absolute Donnybrooks that define what esports racing is all about. This is where it's happening, no doubt. And you make a good point, though. I mean, it happens about 3 or 4 different places for women of this level on Tuesdays. So it's not just this race, but certainly this is a great one to put a spotlight on as we're back with Robinson here of the R3R Lunatics team. You can feel the energy and the dynamic at the front now is everybody just continuing to fight for positioning, chopping and flicking and chopping and flicking out there. This is some really good racing going on as we're very quickly coming up on 10K to go. Power-ups today, you're going to see the arrow in the draft. That helmet is the arrow, just making you a little bit slicker for a little while. And then the van is the draft, and that's a 50% increase in the effect that you feel of the draft that you're getting out there. Same thing, about 30 seconds. So that's the Dutch NL team, the orange and blue. And it's, let's see what we've got, Nathan. That's a big attack. Here we go. Is that Los again? It's out of East. Here we go. Back to you, Nathan.
Adegeist maybe a little bit early this time around. Does she have the kick all the way through? I think she's going to get overtaken by Kegstrom. Actually, Tennille Irish, though, perfect timing with the arrow power up. Big numbers there coming from Tennille, but not just the numbers, Dave. She wasn't really even into orange. The timing, Dave. And that's experience right there. That is experience. I mean, this rider, and she on the breakaways that she's tried to do in the past, and like all, this is something that we've seen from Tennille really come together as some Zwiftcraft. Her Zwiftcraft has come on board, just completely firing on all cylinders over the last this season. And she has come in the chat and actually said a few times and been a part of the rap conversation and saying, I was doing too much. I wasn't being crafty. I wasn't trying to figure out how to be tactical with any of my racing, and just was wasting energy over and over again. You can see as she's learned the tactics in the game, when to time things, and it's paying off for her in this Ravon team.
She gets my Rider of the Week award for being so cool. I completely love what we're seeing with Tennille. Personality goes a long way as well, and she brings some serious spice to the table. So, Tennille, you keep on keeping on out there. That's the Ravon rider that we're talking about. She's not only strong, Nathan, but again, it's really cool when you watch someone crack the code. She's like doing a Rubik's Cube behind her back out here now with the game of Zwifts. So,
I love it. That's one. I don't know if we've heard that one before. Rubik's Cubes behind the back. I mean, this
just made that up on the spot.
This is next level. I mean,
all right. So Nathan, I think we were right. I want to go back and analyze our thought. The fastest through segment, that ship has sailed. Points left are going to be all about winning sprints out here. We've only got, what is it going to be, 2 of them left now?
Yeah, it's a lap and a half at the most at this point. So we've got a sprint segment and we've got a finish, really, at this point. So riders really need to be thinking about how they're going to be getting those any way that they possibly can. I do want to just highlight really quickly that we do have the men's race starting very shortly here. So we will be jumping in with them in just a few moments. They start in 4 minutes from now. So we'll be finishing up with the ladies here. We'll catch also, though, some replays if we need to of the men's racing. Don't worry, that's not going to be missed if you are jumping in for what's coming at us in just a few moments here for the men's. Let's get you the exact what this is called. EMEA West South Open Division. Teams like BL13 coned one of the best teams, actually, best team names that's been out there. Foudre, L'Equipe, Provence. We've got Restart. We've got Saddle Drunk RT. It's interesting. Maybe they've been hanging out with Electric Spirit Co. a little bit too much. Swedish Swifters are going to be in there. Team CLS as well as Team NL. Team ODZ, two guys. Wahoo Lacole. It's definitely going to be one of the strongest divisions amongst the men for the European division. So they'll be starting in just 3 minutes from now. They'll be taking off from the pens.
That's going to be a fun one to watch. So we got a great finale here as well. I see. It looks like we're going to have to get more information on that Likey, the rider there that certainly has inserted herself into the conversation. I thought that I saw an attack going clear, but not the case, as this group's going to keep the speed very, very high.
Yeah, nobody going anywhere just quite yet.
Not quite.
Looks like. Oh, there's a little bit of a move, though, from Cryogen. Interesting to see. It's a risk reward at this point, isn't it, Dave? You go a little bit too hard, and you have to almost sacrifice for the team, perhaps, for some setups as well. But it is causing 3 riders, Bradley, Hayne, as well as Swan. Nevin maybe struggling a little bit there, too. No, just finding the wheels. But I think that we do have 2 or 3 riders going off the back. And that's the thing, Dave. It is worth it if you can get enough riders to separate. It really is, because that speed of the pack really slows down if you get enough riders off the back. There isn't as much roll through, but it looks like that's not happening. Tennille actually using the arrow here and coming through to the front. Maybe a little bit of struggle for a moment, as one of the most aggressive riders in the day for sure is going to be Beefy, as she's here at 181. Those 2 riders off the back for a moment, they're just barely going to find the pack. Good on them, as the speeds pick up for going into our final lap for week 3, round 2, Zwift Racing League 2022-23 for the women EMEAE Division 1. As
it's hard.
28 riders left,
Nathan. Yeah, no doubt. It's hard on a climb like that to find the sweet spot in that group, right? Too hard and you're wasting energy, but you let yourself drift too far back, and all of a sudden you're burning a ton of calories trying to chase back into that group. So actually, most of the riders played that one pretty conservatively and intelligently, I'd say, on that last climb.
Trying to be cool there for a second, bringing it into picture-in-picture. It wasn't working out for us, but as we can see here, M. Guest there is who we're looking at as far as giving us the camera view. About to take off from the pens, 130 beats per minute, 243, 421. You can see they're starting to ramp up. They're going to go, and there is the start of the men's race. We will be making sure to get you any replays. Lots of fire socks kicking off as they are taking off from the pens. And BL13, we'll see if they bring any BL13 tactics out there today. It'll be interesting to watch and see. We'll also get you some league standings for that men's race in just a moment. But the women, they're in the same section, of course, Dave, but they are starting their final lap. Are they going to finish within an hour, do you think, Dave, or is this going to slow right on down as they watch each other? I have a feeling they're going to, I don't know, this is a 50-50 for me. We may see some attacks, but I think there's so many points on the line. They are only going to come at crucial moments, I think, opposite of the sprint, as well as perhaps over the top of that final kick climb into the Watopia KOM.
This is kind of bizarre. They're almost exactly on the same part of the course, aren't they?
Right they are, and exact same part
within
of the course.
Within about 20 meters of each other, I'd even say. So they both now, but no, good point, Nathan. Do the women want? I'm going to focus on the women for right now, as we've been
100%.
following that storyline. And do they watch each other, or does someone go for it? I guess this is where there's so many data points to look at, but you start looking at the points, right? The biggest block of points available are at the finish line. And in reality, if you need to make up a few, a solo flyer might possibly be a way to do it, but it takes quite a rider to pull that off as well. So ultimately, we talk about risk reward a lot out here. You look at how many, two factors, how strong this group is and how tired everybody must be, because this has been a brutal race up to this point. So there's not too many riders that are going to be feeling as fresh as a spring chicken out here.
They really are looking at each other at this point. You can tell, Dave, it's calmed right on down.
It's really, yeah, neutralizing itself, isn't it? Yeah.
100%. And I do think it has a lot to do with the points that are on grabs here. This is the final time for FAL in just a moment here. Nobody off the front for the attack, as they did see that it was brought back pretty easily as Despa was brought back into the fold. But she did grab that 10 points. It was worth it. But now at this point, there's so much on the line when it comes to the finish line points. A lot of the riders most likely thinking, we'll get what we can for the FAL. But at this point, it's really about the finish line. Maybe somebody can set up something for a breakaway and not want to have that final sprint. I would not be surprised one bit after this sprint if we see some counters over the attack as well as a massive attack over the top of that little kick into the bypass that is a part of that KOM. The men's race again is taking their first sprint down in just a minute. We will get replays of that. Do not worry, everybody. The replay will most definitely be up for grabs for that. But the women here heading into their final sprint for this SE's reverse sprint point. In just a moment, we're going to figure out who's going to be the winners on the day.
So the names that we've been watching at that sprint, you expect to see something similar. Does anyone upset the apple cart out here? The thing that you don't want to do is go so hard for these points, kind of stepping over $1 to pick up a dime, because this is that critical sector right after the sprint where counterattacks are, you would be extremely vulnerable. So you want to play your cards close to the vest right now. We haven't talked a lot about Cryogen today, Nathan, one of the all-time great squads out here. And I have a feeling that they're looking to make a little bit of an impact on the final race. So the split happening, couple splits happening in the group. There's that surge, and it is underway now. And is it going to be Tennille Irish one more time?
I'm not sure she's going to hold on to this one. It was a little bit of a kick over the top there, maybe for positioning, but this is actually going to get her swarmed as well as Lithgow. This might find them off the back, actually, with this timing here, Dave. She's not going to have the kick for the speed here at this point. Now Polanowski, but look at SZ coming through absolutely flying. It's going to be London with the final kick with that arrow power up. Is there going to be a split behind? That's the question here. We also got Polanowski here coming from Kirchmer, Cycling, Kiggs from Ward. It's going to be Embry there. That's your top four across the line. Now we've got half a lap to go. Ward now rolling through. It's going to be Nauman, Embring. Van Eyck is still here. Is there any split behind? Is going to be the question. Luis Adegeist, actually. Luis, wow. Adegeist here, Dave. Maybe struggling. No, she's going to get back on terms. She's fine.
Be all right.
Arrow power up having to be used. Breely now fading backwards very quickly. 5.1 watts per kilogram. The speed might not be there. She needs a kick right now, Dave. As you can see, she was doing the watts per kilogram to match Hayne there for just a moment. But as you can see, Dave, it's not just about watts per kilogram. It's about speed. And if they press on, this beta rider might just barely get back on. She is going to do it, it looks like, Dave. But that was touch and go.
Yeah, a couple panic watts, I am assuming, are what's coming into play. This is the worst. She's going to rejoin right now. Well, so Nathan, if a rider like Los Adegeist is finding herself out of position like that, it shows you how rugged it has been out here. And Los is still sitting at the back of this group, as it's going to be Brearley pulling a bit of a Jane Despos, going from the back right up to the front. That she's just wanted to make sure that she gets up in the draft and can take a deep breath and for a moment relax. I don't think there's any real relaxing out here. There you go. Kirkmeyer just setting another rider up the road. Team getting active out here now. It's not just Polanowski on this squad. So, okay. These ladies really having at it as we're down to, let's call it, under 4K of racing remaining here. Last points available, waiting at the finish line here. Monster points, though, still to come.
I think it's 42.5 or so. If we take a look at the lap here, that's the lap. You do see that kick that they are going to have that final
Less
kick over the
three.
top there. Yeah, so we're right into it here, and it's calmed right on down. All they have is that punch left to really take on. So the downhill, this is one of the most tactical sprints, though, Dave, because you do have that kick, and then that's within the last K or so, right? Like you're in like a maybe 1,500 meters or so to the line, and you're throwing down essentially orange numbers all in effort here in just a moment. And then you've got to find the best spot to hide, essentially. Like and it might be off the front with a few riders, and you're trying to hide in there as best as you can to reserve as much as you can for a final kick. Yet you're also thinking, is the pack going to catch us? Is it going to be a group sprint? Then the pack maybe that you're sitting in with, are they going to catch the riders that are out front? Are they working hard enough? There's so much tactical savviness that you've got to have coming into this final sprint right here. We're about to see that all kick off.
Yeah, it's threading a needle. No doubt about that. So Nathan, does Lust Adegeist take a look? Oh, there we go. Don't want to miss this one. We've got an attack. We've got an attack here going
Lou Bates.
all
Lou
in.
Bates.
I love it. It's all Lou Bates time. So Lou Bates, it's your world. We're just living in it. Is it going to be enough? Because if Lou Bates can't pull it off, Nathan, I can't imagine that anybody else is going to want to give it a go. So Lou Bates now opening up a gap. It's at 2 seconds. So she's smart to get that, establish that gap so no one's in her slipstream. But now you can see that she's going to get a response. This is one of the most dangerous riders, but Lou Bates now throwing some more coal on the fire. Nathan, does this have a chance?
It does have a chance, and the reason it has a chance is if they chase and they split. If they split enough, Dave, it has a huge chance here. And there's going to be a lot of aggression in that group. And because of the aggression in that group, I have a feeling that it's not going to be a large group that's going to be coming over the top here, unless they just watch each other. If they watch each other and they trust each other to bring this back and it doesn't split, that's actually the danger for Lou Bates here. If they keep it within 10 seconds or so and they're all together over the top, they're not responding. They're keeping it steady. I mean, it's a response at 6 watts per kilogram, but it's not orange numbers for a split here. Nobody's chasing. Dave, this is going to come right down to it for Lou. Lou has to have a huge kick over the top here. Big speed on the downhill because 10 seconds can come back so quickly here, Dave. I think it's going to come right to the line.
Well, I tell you what, if it was any other rider, I would say this is like Don Quixote tilting against windmills out here, thinking they're dragons. But this is Lou Bates. Lou has shown over the last month, I was talking about her at the beginning of the broadcast, she was so strong and she seemed to somehow level up from that. I'm going to bet on Lou Bates here, Nathan, but I'm betting with my heart, but I feel like my brain is in line with that. This is the problem. This group of hungry wolves here has got a huge advantage in the gameplay, the physics of this whole thing. But you know what? Every now and then, crazy beats strong.
She did it. I think she
I'm not
did
calling
it,
Lou
Dave.
Bates crazy, but I think she's going to do it.
This
I
is
love it.
amazing.
I love her heart.
Haven't seen this right here, a solo rider to get away on this section. Now you can see 6 watts per kilogram here. Here comes Martin rolling through, but they're all watching.
Over.
No, Dave, now they're at 10. She's
so,
within, yeah, she's in 500 meters, Dave. She's done it. They didn't chase hard enough over the top. I thought maybe there would be a little bit more speed coming through, but I was wrong, Dave. This isn't even a question. Bates has done it. They're letting her go. Those points are up the road, and they all know it. Lou Bates, that is absolutely one of the best moves we've seen in this season by far. Huge effort there from her. We do see Tino Irish making a kick there, trying to go very early, 10 seconds back. A little bit of a drafting power up for fun, it looks like, and Bates is going to take this down. Tino Irish now with the lead out, not going to make it happen, though. It looks like over the top, it's going to be London leading it out, and this is just a sprint of attrition, and London takes down the second place and the group sprint at a geese alongside of Light. It looked like they're battling it out for the third and fourth place. Tennille just hanging on to a few. Look at how many people are finishing up here, Dave. This is crazy. Like this, there are many riders in the Zwift Racing League.
20,000 plus riders. So Nathan, I have to say Lou Bates is a one-woman wrecking crew. I'll take her points and say that she's probably alone, just as one human, a top 4 team out here today, just based on her individual points. That's a guess, but that's how good she was. And she not only wins that race outright with a command performance, she had tremendous first across the line points and fastest through segments, so she didn't miss a step out here today. Way to go, Lou Bates and R3R. All riding in support of our friends at World Bicycle Relief. Nice to give them a shout out.
That's her points that number on the day, Dave.
58.
That's just her segment points. That's just segment points. That's not finish line points. So talk about keeping R3R in the conversation.
No kidding. But noted, Nathan, the Swedes look like they had another day to remember. That's Team Swedish Swifting. So it's really important here to note that London, yeah, she's 8 points behind Bates, but when you factor in that her teammate is Embring, well, just right there, all of a sudden, things dramatically switch to the Swedes as far as the overall. Kirkmeyer represented by Polnowski, but Swedes had another rider in the top 6 as well, so it's hard to imagine they didn't win the day, Nathan. But Lou Bates is the big individual star.
Yeah, as you can see here, Bates there 6 seconds up at the end of the day. London ended up in second. Luis Atagis there for third. It is going to be Zaina Lutfel coming from that Revo team, actually. That's a new name that we need to watch out there for coming out of Canada, actually. Followed up by help me out with that one. You had much better pronunciation than me on that one, David. Coming recently from that area of the world on your travels. Help me out on that one there.
Well, I'm going with Likey
Likey.
yeah,
Likely
that's
Nugent.
the current pronunciation. Yeah.
And then it is going to be Laura Polonowski, followed up by Hannah Donnell, and then Johanna Tidholm, Haley Johnson, and Tennille Irish. That's your top 10. Even after the lead out, able to hold on to a top 10 spot. We'll take a look at the. Now, here's the thing. The only thing, we're not going to take a look at the standings afterwards until later on, because those are going to continue to update as we get through the racing. Let's go ahead, though, and jump down into what's been going on with this men's racing so far. We have had a couple of sprints already play out. We'll take a look at those in just a moment. But as we see here, this is actually going to be the women's replay. We need to get off of the women's replay and get into the men's. We saw the end of a sprint there. Mikey Podsline here for WLC tried to do a little bit of something there off the front. We'll back this up just a tad. As you can see, is he was off the front there with an attack up and over the top for WLC, but it was very well timed by the Foodsray rider as we get some reverse here going on. This was lap number 1. Podsy off the front. Espiel there from Foodsray coming through with the aero power up. Very well timed. Usually this does not hang on. Zach Harrod's there behind for WLC trying to come through. I think he does just catch Podsy at the line. His teammate, as well as CLS, there right behind. Barfoot there also from WLC. So WLC grabbing a lot of points, but it's going to be Foodsray for first across the line on that first sprint. The second sprint also played out just a moment ago. And we'll see if we can jump in with that. And that was going to be Donnell, who came through on the first sprint just a moment ago. This is the second sprint, excuse me. The second sprint coming on through, and it was now I think that's going to be in the same household because we saw Donnell there also coming from Team SZ. Big kick here coming from him, and I believe there it is, A. Donnell from the Swedish Zwifters as well. For Team Sweden here coming on through. Lots of WLC there as well. That's the second sprint coming on through. We'll get all the points up in just a second. And 2 laps in now at this point. And that'll get us to catch up as to how those sprints were won so far. We'll get some points up on the board here in just a second, as we're already in a little bit of a split, though, here, Dave. 9 seconds back. Novak from the Coned team. Tugas as well as Mores. We've got Wakefield. That is the name I would not expecting to see off the back here, actually, as we've got 44 riders now still intact, 2 laps in.
Kim Little racing today. Shout out to you, Kim Little. Wahoo Lacole, very well organized team. They don't want the women to get all the credit as the guys stepping up out here today. Luke Barfoot, Ludovic Paulet and company. It looks like they're pretty well represented up in this group, although a couple of guys right now are just fighting to stay on the back. This looks pretty similar to what we saw with the women, Nathan, that battle of attrition out here. A good time to review if you're just joining us now for the men's race, that today you'll see that helmet van in play, the helmet representing the aero power up, the van for the draft. And familiar sight here is it looks like NL Racing or the Dutch riders on the front, making things tough for everybody out here on this Two Bridges loop course, doing 6 laps today for a total of just under 43 kilometers of racing. And here we are with the EMEA West South group. BL13, always a team to watch, but it looks like the Dutch are up to something here, Nathan.
Yeah, they're on the attack for sure, it looks like, and really trying to make things difficult. Let's take a quick look at what the men are going to be taking on. As we're on the Two Bridges loop, as you can see, there's the start. And on over to the SE, 7.1 kilometers per lap, 4.4 miles, 240 feet of climbing, 73 meters each and every lap. It's going to be 6 of those. There's that kick that they just went on through, and the sharp downhill round around to the bridge and through the finish. 6 total laps of that, as you can see. So that's what the men and the women are. The women just took on. The men are taking on now as well, as we see them descend down through, finishing up their second lap here. There's the course profile for the Two Bridges, a total of 7.1 kilometers. You can see that sting that's in the later half of the lap, as Guest now takes over for BL13. BL13, Dave, is going to be interesting out here today for BL13. I feel like they've gotten a little bit quieter as of recently when it comes to those tactics that we've seen from them in the past. And maybe just things heating up when it gets, that was over the summer or into the spring, maybe, that we saw some of those moves. Well, actually, that was one of the Legion races.
Even
that
longer.
we saw it. Yeah, that was one of the Legion races. So perhaps, though, a little bit more difficult to try and pull off when you're known for doing something like a breakaway situation.
It's funny. That's exactly what I was going to say, Nathan, is that you only have so many opportunities to surprise folks. It's sort of that fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. And we would be into the fool me 3 times mode. But they certainly had a good run of that. But teams have to continually reinvent themselves. It's not just reinforcing and recruitment of quality riders, but it's always looking at tactics and strategy, much like, what the Velocio guys or the Next guys are up to. Or for that matter, the Wahoo Lacole women, same thing. Right? They're constantly looking for a crack in the armor of all the other squads out there. And that's what really the mental part of this that makes it so much fun. And it's not just some ridiculous exercise contest. It's a chess match on wheels. So we talked about Wahoo Lacole. Paulet going to make his move now, the French rider on that team. And this is a shot across the bow, Nathan. Let's see who wants to respond out here. Still in the first third of this race, but with fastest through segment points, first across the line. This looks like a first across the line situation, or at least looking to get something going here.
We got a response from the Swedish Zwifters, 10 watts per kilogram. That orange numbers tells me that rider wants to go across. And Heimstra now going as well. Foudre responding. Dave, this might be brought back together. We get 4 or 5 riders off the front. The pack is going to respond very quickly, but Paulet is continuing on. And this is full commitment, it looks like, here from this rider. Jensen unable to make the cross here as he goes fairly all in for these FAL, as you can see. They're going to make the catch of what attempted to be a bridge. I believe it might calm right on down at that point. And if it does, 4 off the front here, Dave. No one chasing. Enough representation, perhaps?
Well, it's interesting. This one, Nathan, I want your opinion. This doesn't look like a great opportunity for the fastest through segment at this point, the way this one has been written. It's been too herky-jerky, right?
100%. Yeah, and there's going to be – there's no way they're getting fastest through on this now. It might be first across line, though, and that may work
what it's
out
about.
Here. Yeah, really.
Yeah, exactly.
But at 2 seconds, Dave, that's not even going to happen here. The only rider who's left at this point that may have a shot at that still is going to be Paulet. But Paulet at 4.3, the speed of the pack is really picking up now at this point. This is going to be touch and go. I have a feeling he may be caught. Those riders are starting to accelerate behind. The question is how fast they climb here. At this moment right here, if there's a punch over the top of this little kicker here, Paulet does have a feather power. Good on him. 9 watts per kilogram. And now the question is whether or not we see orange numbers from the main pack. That's really the question here. They will make the catch if we see that.
But we're not as much as you'd think we need to. I think he's got a little in the tank, so he throws some more coal on the fire.
He's just got it, yeah. He's going to take this. That's
by a little
good timing.
bit.
Good timing here.
And that's the name of the game here. That's a sneaky way to grab some points for Wahoo Lacole. This is that team's MO, their modus operandi. Now, this is what Nathan was talking about. That surge is going to be coming, but it's a little too too late. As far as
Look at how fast they're gonna catch.
He's
Well,
creeping now.
look
I
at
mean, you
this,
know, he's
Dave. Like, still 5 seconds to win that by 5 seconds is pretty amazing. Actually, that was really well done by Polehi. That was a huge effort, obviously, from him. The speed's coming
checkmate.
through. 64, 63. Look at how fast they come flying by him. The question is whether or not he's even going to be on the back of this group here at this point as it starts to straggle even to be a group anymore. Now look at BL13 though. I see 3 of these riders to the front. Utley's there. They were just in it for the sprint, I think. That was all about points.
Well, after you make a huge effort like Paulet, the French rider, did there, you love to see it strung out that long, Nathan. It gives you a lot of lag there where you've got plenty of riders to sit in with as it comes back together. If they go by you as one blob just flying by, that can be a bit of a problem. So that all worked out quite nicely. I wonder if these guys are going to be able to rejoin now as we make our way through into the middle part of the race. I think the Peloton might give them a crack at rejoining here. They're gonna have
Yeah,
to
we
work
see
though.
Gray actually using an arrow power up just to get back on terms. And I have a feeling we're going to start seeing pressure at the front of this race as we go through each one of these sprint points. I don't think these guys are going to start messing around at these sections any longer. Jensen here now going backwards from Team Sweden, 6.3, 5.6, just to hang on. Let's see what the heart rate's at, 173. Did you see Tim Fulford? I thought that he was DSing out here. Fulford actually racing, who's usually DSing, one of the leaders, part of the leadership and administration over at WLC. Good to see. Fulford jumping in amongst the crowd. Did you say Kim Little is racing? I haven't seen the name as of yet on
He was on my
screen.
start list. He
Yeah,
was
I
on my
wonder if
start list,
I
although
wonder
I
if the
haven't seen him yet
scones.
either.
Where's the tea and scones man out here today? I'm not seeing him just as of yet, and you'll be surprised only because usually he's involved in the sprints. So not
Agreed. He
seeing
may be
anything just yet.
scratched. It's possible.
Yeah, he needs to stop scratching. What's going on here, Tim? Come on now.
Wasteman to the front now. Team NL been very active out here today. This is very similar to the women's race that we watched an hour ago, Nathan. As far as just the attrition out here, only the strong are able to stay up in this front group. But no real breakaway threats until the last couple of laps once you've really softened this group up. But it takes a while to soften these guys up. These are some tough characters that we've got out here.
100%. And so far, have not. Uh, Kim's here. We're hearing from Podsy. Podsy's
Kim
letting
is
us
here.
know that Kim Little is here. Maybe he's hiding out. We'll see if
He's that good.
maybe he got dropped. We'll see if that's
Hey.
what's really what's going. Oh, watch it now. Sorry.
Big fan here.
Heading into the third time over the top of this puncher of a climb. We'll see if there's any separation that's going to take place. I think things have calmed right on down. We saw this in the women's race, didn't we, Dave? We saw that going into lap 3, lap 4, the separations that were going to happen, most of the riders that can make them have made them. Trying to break this group down any further, that becomes really a difficult issue at this point, doesn't it, Dave?
I couldn't agree more. I mean, if you haven't been dropped yet, if you do get dropped, it's probably because you went too big trying to get some points. So it's the 7 deadly sins. Don't let greed be one of them. Is that restart that we're seeing starting to send their guys up to the front now? That's going to be interesting here to see what we've got now. It looks like we're starting to see a bit of a shift as that's an attack with old school theory. Heimstra is the Dutch rider here, putting the hurt box wide open for these guys now. And does anybody want to respond to this one, Nathan?
Heimstra 1 second. It looks like he's got a little bit of a gap, but that was a lot of effort for only 2 seconds going into this downhill. And it's a good, effort that he made here, but I'm not sure it's going to be for a whole lot of distance between himself and the rest of this pack. His restart kept things steady at the front. His fellow countrymen, but not his fellow teammate here, pulling him right back in. Team NL, though, with an arrow power up on the front there as well. Maybe watching a little bit too much cyclocross. You need more mud on course here to make these kind of moves work.
Good call. All right. This is where, again, if you're dangling off the front and you look back and you see this, well, it's time to start a new chapter because these guys are going to be gobbling you up. as they are flying at over 70 kilometers per hour right now. And I think we're going to hit the reset button at the front with a much smaller group here as we make our way into the back half, the back nine of this race. Now getting a look at the men who've survived to this point. I'm not sure if you have the data, Nathan, but we're into the third race of the 2022-2023 season now. So we're starting to establish the pecking order out here. Last week we had our one and only time trial for our riders. This is going to be, he's definitely sowing his oats out here right now, is Heimstra.
Continues to press the pace. We'll see if it ends up paying off for him as he does so. Real quickly, let's take a look at the current. Let's say we got the standings. Coach Kim, I'm being told. So maybe Kim Little here is actually coaching things up. This is an interesting kick here coming from Heimstra. 10 watts per kilogram, 180 beats per minute. Really trying to get a gap here. Up here at the front for the team Coned. And now a little bit of a draft power up. Interesting enough here. So Heimstra is just all over the place, it looks like. This is some of the most interesting tactics I've ever seen.
And 50% of nothing is nothing, right? Am I correct on that?
Sports here. Yeah, I think you're right there, Dave. And followed up by Wahoo
It's
Nicole
still
A4.
nothing? Okay.
Udre VSOP Team CLS Alliance. This is close racing still, Dave. The top four are all within striking distance. Coned are there as well. They're in fifth place. It's going to be Team NLA4, BL13 ZZP Rockets. And then it's going to be Team NLA2, Saddle Drunk RT, and Singles, powered by Stages. That's your top 10 as it stands after the points that have been established, even during this race right now.
We haven't really talked about SWE Boar all that much so far, Nathan, although we're just getting into...
Isn't that the thing with the Swedes, right? It's consistency, 100%. Consistency.
All right, we're going to bring everything back together here now. Again, much smaller group as the guys head out into what looks like a counterattack now going over the top.
Look at this kit that Coned use. I like this kit. The slow twitch kit with these colors. What is that? Is that helmets?
I don't know.
Or...
The colors remind me a bit of Direct Energy, the French team that Sagan was, the sort of a modern look there, the upbeat colors.
Look at the, right around the collar too. It has the collar itself, even with the trim there along the sleeves and the shorts. This is pretty well done here by Slow Twitch. And I like what Coned
to find out what Anna Russell thinks. Do you think she'd like it, Nathan? You must know her fashion.
I can't predict anything anymore with Anna.
Is it hard to say with her?
I can't predict anything anymore with Anna.
Just never know.
I'm like, oh, this looks amazing, and Anna's like, bin it, throw it in the garbage, to forget that thing. I don't know what you're talking about. That doesn't even work. I'm not. She's like Oscar the Grouch sometimes when it comes.
She's
to
a peculiar tastes for sure.
Headbands over visors for her. She hates the visor. Stay away from the visor. Lup's really trying to hold on to this. He's only got 2 seconds. Ah, man, it was a good effort, but it was a little late, I think, to try and hold down this FAL. They, for some reason, this lap, they are on fire. In fuego, and you can see the fire out of the socks there coming on through there. 3 seconds at 9 watts per kilogram, but well here from Team NL trying to bring this back. I have a feeling he's going to get swarmed right at the line. Ooh, but he's got an arrow, Dave. He's got an arrow.
Let's see if this helps. I mean, it can't hurt, as they say, and he's going to be, we've watched rider after rider make this run. This one's going to be really close. We see the arch. They're right there, and he's going to do it.
Wow, nice job by Lup. Just barely. There they are, across the line. CLS takes second. It looks like third.
Yeah, maybe 25 meters. Maybe 25 meters at the line, which is a lot,
arrow power
I
up
guess.
There. That arrow power up was, my call was incorrect there, 100%. But that without that arrow power up, I think there was absolute swarmage going on there.
I'd be a little concerned if I wasn't on Wahoo LaCool right now. You see what they're doing, Nathan? They've got a split. Let's see if they want to double down on this. They've got 4 riders up in a front group of a dozen right now with a couple gaps behind them. I don't know that they want to completely commit to that.
Oh, if there was something in the tank still at this point, like if I was sitting 10th wheel, 15th wheel, I'd kick so hard at orange numbers. I just like if I had something, I mean, it would just be boom and try and get 3 or 4 to come with me because it would be game over. It's at these moments when everyone comes back together and everybody's heart rates are really just, I mean, their hearts are just in their mouth at this point, like going, oh my gosh, can I even breathe? These are the moments that you create separation. Really, these are key. And it looks like they got a couple riders off the back, but it also means everyone's hurting, Dave. And,
Well,
there
that's a
might
perfect
just be nothing in the
example,
tank.
Nathan, where I feel like I've said it quite a few times over the years about how you don't attack when the race is easy. You attack the race when everyone else isn't willing to go any deeper, right? When you got them completely in the gutter, as you said, with their heart in their mouth. Well,
Hmm.
that's when you attack. But the problem is you're feeling like that too. So you've really, really got to, rock up in those moments. And that's bike racing right there. That really defines it. Um, Zach Herod in this race, another one of the Wahoo LaCool riders. I'm seeing his name for the first time here. Very talented individual out in this field. But yeah, if it was easy, everybody would do it, as they say. That's
What
far
is
from the
going
case
on
out
here,
here.
Dave? Tim Fulford has 23 points. Where did this guy's fitness come from? I mean, this guy, he's been racing Zwift though from early. I mean, he goes as far back as esports really goes in a lot of different ways with Fulford. And that might be savviness alongside of some fitness, but I mean, that's some crazy uh tactics. I mean, he's doing better
Well,
than one of their top sprinters. Podsy's one of their top sprinters out there, and Podsy's sitting in 4th.
this is going to be really interesting, Nathan, when you look at how it sorts out when we're done and dusted today, because the Boers, they've got 3 in the top 10, including 2 in the top 3. But Wahoo LaCool right now is sitting with 4 in the top 8. So half of the riders in the top 8 getting points are on that Wahoo LaCool team. It's a big gap, though, from the Swede Danell back to the Brit Fulford. You can see this is a very interesting points table here. And this is a little bit past the midpoint of the race that we're at right now as well. So, hard to pick a favorite. Those are the 2 top teams, only 1 point separating them after this is the 3rd race of this season. Hi, Cam.
Yeah, he's actually DSing out there today, so that's why Fulford's got any points. He was given some extra
Cam's
scone power.
mastermind.
Yeah, scone power. Alongside of the road, he's alongside the road here with tea and scones. As at the front here, as we can see, a little bit of a push on there from Liquip. Now another push here coming from Lup again from the Coned team with that
A lot of feathers.
cute kit that we were talking about. Cendric's there from a restart. The restart just keeping everything within range, though. They tend to be the workhorses, it seems like, of this pack. Whenever I see them coming over the top of this climb, they just keep everybody within striking range and pull that pack right on up at a steady 5.66 watts per kilogram as they make their way over. Nobody on any serious attacks, no orange numbers that I can see. Everybody knowing that on the downhill, it's most likely going to all come right back. And that's the thing, Dave. If you want to get away on this section of course, you've got to get 3, 4, 5 riders off the front. Everyone's got to commit to full on orange numbers and then power over the top here. You can't be at 45 kilometers per hour right here. You got to be at 60 and getting right into super tucks. And we just don't see that organization. Or the risk at least. The organization may be there, but we just haven't seen the risk.
Yeah, I don't think anybody can convince themselves that it's worth it at this point now. It's been so tough. This is a course that's really, really controlled by how hard they race it is what makes this day tough. It doesn't necessarily have to be a tough day out on Two Bridges Loop, but the way these guys and the women previously have been racing, it's extreme. You really never get a break out here. And the most dangerous stretch of racing is almost completely flat right after that bonus segment that we have. So they just keep stirring the pot relentless esports racing going. Jimmy Sendrix, that might be the best name in esports right now. Where,
That is one of the best
have you
names.
heard that before? Jimmy
Oh, I didn't
Sendrix?
get
Are
it. I
you
didn't get it
kidding
at
me?
first. I actually didn't
What?
get it at first. And now that you called it out, I think I even said the name earlier and didn't catch it. Nice one, Dave. Wow. That is got to be the
That's
one of the
awesome.
best. We need. I mean, if there
Come
wasn't,
on, Feel My
if there wasn't
Fire. It would
like, yeah,
be
if there
his
wasn't
album.
some sort of, rights issues, I completely would be playing some sort of Hendrix now at this point. Well, we call it
Along the
Cendrix here.
Watchtower or something.
Oh
Right?
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So
I
good.
love that. You guys are the best. This community, man, just never stops from making me smile. So, all right, well, they can't be smiling now. This is not a game. This is life, as they say. It really is. For these riders, they are completely committed, spread out across the road. So, Nathan, at this point now, this might be the worst moment to attack. To tell you the truth, and everybody realizes that so much firepower here to neutralize you. All these teams. I mean, look at these teams. Saddle Drunk is a new team to me, but I mean, Restart, L'Equipe Provence, Foudre, Cone, BL13. These are the danger man, and obviously Wahoo Lacole and the Boars, the top team in the league right now. Going to have an epic battle going on. We're just about 30K into a 40. I'm going to call it 43, but that's a little bit long out here. But these are the gladiators of Zwift, and this is going to be a real throwdown. We've seen the feather, the helmet, the van, the big three of the power ups. I'd call those the big three of the power ups, Nathan.
Yeah, yep. Those are really the big three of the power ups as far as offensive power ups go, and counter abilities to counter, obviously with that draft power up as well. But the birds have gotten kind of loud out on Zwift. Have you guys noticed that the in game, as things calm down just a little bit as we wait for these next couple of sprint points as well as the final finish here? There's a
in-game bird sounds are
well,
increasing.
no, there's.
Good grief.
I forget that
That's
you
my
like
worst
have an
nightmare.
issue. I forget that you have this specific issue with birds, Dave. Like Dave, just so everyone knows in the broadcast, I've always wondered if Dave watched the movie The Birds like one too many times as a child or something, because
Or was
whenever we
attacked
talk
by
about
birds. Or,
Oh my God. But the in-game sounds, the environment sounds have been changing and increasing. One of the there's been some new devs that have been doing some great work when it comes to in-game environment sounds and game sounds, which has been really great to see. I actually see a little bit something going on here up ahead, Dave. I wonder if this is tactical. Lup here off the front. And this is the move, Dave. I didn't catch this. How long has he been off the front for? Where did he even
you
go?
got it now, and someone's bridging. He's got a rider bridging across as well, which is going to be encouraging for Lup. We shouted out this team. Are we saying this CND, Nathan? It's
Coned.
a new squad
Coned.
to me. So
Yeah, the Cone team.
Coned. Oh, there you go. Thank you. So that's Coned. There you go. So this is the German rider Lup that we're looking at. Yeah, he's really committed. The numbers are big. That's Podza coming across now. The Wahoo Lacole rider, he's going to respond, as well as Foudre. Estribel is also, he's one of the French riders here. So this is the moment that we've been waiting for, but it does look like, so this is Podza that we're looking at now. The Wahoo Lacole riders, he goes all in, just bearing the accelerator down on the floorboard, as this is the chase. Now we do have one rider up the road. It's a 2-second advantage to Lup of Cone, and there he is, the German, drilling it now, but it looked like he's just going to try to hold on. Will it make it, Nathan?
Wow, it's right to the line. I think Podsy's going to catch him, and it looks like the group right on their heels. Danelle takes third. I can't believe Lup took that out. That's amazing. He gave everything. Look, he went to 0 watts per kilogram right there. Can he even get back on terms now at this point? Will he do it? It looks like he's got a draft power up. That's perfect for him right here, Dave. This is going to be touch and go depending on how far this group goes back with this dragon tail. And it looks like this is going to be it. They're all going to come back together. No attacks off the front. Surprisingly, actually, I would expect attacks to start going now at this point. Heimster now trying to get back on terms. Mango is there as well, but it looks like he's getting peeled off the back. It's Lup now able to hold on.
Uh-oh, Magno gonna fight his way back in. Nathan, you got to give Loop
I
credit.
called him Mango. I
Went,
thought it was Mango. I thought it was
I saw
Apologies, Magno. Apologies.
with.
Uh,
Listen, would that be a bad name? Absolutely
no,
not.
no,
If you want to
absolutely
start calling
not.
me Dave Mango, I am fine with that. I think mangoes are one of the best fruits out there. So, all right, but this is the man himself, isn't it? Trying to get back on No, the two guys rider. He's got. Oh, come on now. He's going to get back in. Okay, good. Way to fight out there. It's been a tough race, no doubt. 32 plus kilometers in, so down to about 10K of racing remaining. He's going to pull his inner Jane Despos now and go right to the front and put
Lap and a
them
half,
under
Dave.
pressure now.
Lap and
How
a
you
half.
like them apples? Yeah.
2 more kicks over the top of these punchers. Apples, mangoes, birds. I mean, this is it, Dave. We are in Heimster now off the front. 4.2
Wild world
steady
of
here.
nature out here in Watopia. Heimster's been quite active here today.
Heading toward the bridge here in just a moment, and that's usually where things really start to get the setup. We do see a lot of Team NL on the front. Coned now making their way through as well. Restart still involved. Let's take a look at the points here in just a second. We do have a couple of data issues, I believe, but we may be able to bring in some more updates here, as Danelle has been the top scorer throughout so far for Team Swedish Zwifters, the Boers. This is the current situation as it stands. Danelle still at the top. Podzi with that 38 points. It's going to be Kearney there coming on through for Team CLS at 31 and 24 for Guerra. It's going to be WLC really dominating when it comes to the totals for the teams because Fulford's there. They also have Barfoot and Pilot. It's going to be Zach Harrett there for 15. So that's the situation. We do see Coned in with Lupp grabbing 20 points. He grabbed twice, it looks like, I believe, with FAL. No FTS for them so far. And then Lee Viking riding, I believe that's going to be Foudre. I wouldn't be surprised because it is a French flag. But we'll have to double check on that because I'm not sure on that jersey. It does have the default jersey, so we're not positive right now when it comes through for the jerseys. But that's the situation with a little under a lap and a half to go. 10K, Dave. 10K, I believe it is, to the line.
And 10K and not that many scoring opportunities left out here. We've talked about how WTRL brings a lot of spice to the ZRL, and part of that is the fastest through segment and how tactically the riders want to approach that. A day like today, you'd think that with the larger group and the motivation and horsepower, that's where you'd expect to see those fastest through segments coming into play earlier in the race. And I think that ship has sailed. Look at all the fire socks out there. That's a new feature. Zwift has been really active in enhancing the game lately, and the fire socks are something I know a lot of. There you go, a great example. Right on the front of the group is Nathan. We can see that these guys are digging in right now. As a matter of fact, there's going to be an explosion coming out of this group here as we just entered the finale zone at this point. This orange and blue, Nathan, these guys have been animating and dictating. It's only a matter of time until they blow this to bits.
100%. Now looking through here, Heimstra again trying to make some moves. I'm not sure that these moves are going to end up working out for these riders, though, as they continue to try and do this here, Dave, because these sections of course, well, no, here's the thing. These counters, are they going to be aggressive enough? That's really what it comes down to. If there is enough aggression, the speed, but it needs to be setup moments here. Heimstra does it again. It looks like, well, no, is that going to be Hughesman? So Team NL, they're the ones that keep on making these moves. Big kick, 68 kilometers per hour. The rest of the group's not really going to respond. They're going to play it smart with some super tucks here. And the question is it going to be a counter? Because it is about slingshots a lot of times, Dave. That this does put a couple off the back. Can you see? Then that's what we're talking about. Those high speeds, Dave, could cause some slingshot situations to continue getting the speed off the front. That is what you do need to do on a course like this, is find those perfect timings for the free speed. And if a team wants to, they can get the pack going with a high enough speed that someone who's sitting in at the back could use that advantage once the pack slows. And then about 200 meters from now, that's that moment. And when it does slow down naturally on its own, and attack and go with some free speed from the back. We'll see if somebody goes for it with 1 lap to go.
That's Swiftcraft, Nathan. And we've seen riders taking advantage of exactly what you're talking about out here. Now, we're at 1 lap to go, so 1 to go, 1 to go. I don't say that anywhere near as much as I used to at live races, but one last lap out here, a little over 4 miles until this one is put paid. These are the riders that are still in the mix. It's a team format that we race with. So, yes, you earn individual points out here, but that's all thrown into the same basket, collected with your team, and then we'll sort things out. This is the 3rd week of racing here, and 1 point separating 2 teams at the top of the table. And it'll be interesting to see, Nathan, can Wahoo Lacole, there you go, right on cue. Wahoo Lacole with the BL13 super move. This is as big as it gets in the ZRL. Nathan, I'm going to throw it back to you. I didn't think we'd see this.
1 lap to go. Pods line. Fulford. Herod. Now responds, Dave. And this could be it because you get 4 off the front, and this is worth it because how many riders, God. Dave? How many riders do you get? And this is Kim Little's de-essing. I absolutely love it. Scone Power in the house. Utley's now trying to come across here, Dave. But if they can get organized now they have to get organized. Oh, it's getting caught now, though. If they would have continued, there may have been something there. But everyone went with the move. The question for me here, Dave, is there anybody from WLC that sat on a wheel with that attack, was able to sit in just a little bit and able to come over the top? Not happening, though. There are some off the back, though. It has done damage. Look at that, Dave. There's a big split.
Well, so this is interesting. It wasn't exactly what they were hoping for, but wow, look at the repercussions. It is bodies left, right, and center. Biggest moment that we've seen so far this season. I love the fact that BL13 showed up at the front and said, guys, nice try. Try to pull a BL13. That didn't quite pull off what we did earlier in last season. But now, Nathan, that has done significant damage. We are getting down to the nitty gritty right here, as this is a call to arms for our Peloton. And Nathan, now everyone backs off. This is crazy racing going on out here right now. Absolutely loving it.
Well, you can't just go like absolute insane wattage trying to hold on to the WLC train that just went and then expect to be able to sprint in less than a K at this point, right? And so now over the top, it does look like Lup, giving a move. Here he goes. That's going to be the coned rider again, looking to try and do something. No, he backs off the 4-4. He knows right in front of him is going to be this punch, and now we're going to see it again. Will WLC, my question here, will WLC sit in, or will they look for the points here? Are they going to go over the top of this sprint? I have a feeling they want a breakaway. They don't want to just make this happen, be a finish line sprint, but we'll see how this plays out here. Here we go over the top. It's going to be Heimster again, 6.5 watts per kilogram. Lup now following. It's going to be Jimmy Sendricks from Restart looking to be the watchtower on the front, but now here comes Team NL being the lead out with that arrow.
Nathan, from what we've seen so far and all the data points that we have to work with, I don't expect a bunch sprint or a reduced group sprint. These guys have just been going bananas out here. So this is going to be interesting. Take a look at this now. It's going to be pulled up, but no, look at this surge. Look at that surge from Alex Danell, the Swedish rider. He is in fuego out here, Nathan.
He's got such a huge kick. I mean that, talk about a sprinter. 12, 13, 14 watts per kilogram. Perfect timing. Coming through on that S-Works Venge. Obviously picking the sprinter bike out there today. Now, is CLS going to the top? That's going to be the question, because this is the moments, Dave, that you can make a break. 5 watts per kilogram. Dirty now rolling a little bit. Are they going to give him any room? 5.1, 5.2, 423 watts. Dave, 400 watts is no joke. This is a move. But they're trying to hang on. Nobody's really letting this go here at this point. He backs right on off. You can see he's not getting the distance. He needed a little bit more kick. Not just consistency. He needed a kick.
400 watts is no joke, and they're not laughing. They didn't take the joke well at all. Because they shut that down, Nathan. These guys are not playing around. This has been fantastic racing today. The women earlier, and now with these guys, what a show we've been witnessing. Can't ask for more than that. So, Nathan, that was the moment to counterattack. If it didn't work there with that kind of commitment, you start looking at this. If there's another one coming, is the thing. I have a feeling that the way these Dutch have been positioning, and maybe Kim Little pushing the buttons there like a mad scientist at the Wahoo Lacole World Headquarters, you never know what we've got coming. I do tell you this, it's going to be incredibly dynamic. Esports racing at its best, getting down to the brass tacks now as we're inside of 3K to go.
AVD well now from Team NL, 7 watts per kilogram on the front. For a moment there, he had a little bit of distance between himself and the pack, but it got shut right on down by Restart. It does look like everybody is covering and killing anything that wants to go anywhere, letting them dangle just a little bit, even almost to put salt on a wound, perhaps for a rider trying to get away. Not going to be happening. As we head into the final sprint on the day, we can take a look really quickly as to how things stand. I'm not sure we've had any updates actually on this. This is how things stood for, I think, lap 4. So I don't think we have any updates as of yet. We'll have to wait for those to come on through. Now a little bit of a move though. Heimstruck goes again. This guy's been so aggressive over and over and over again.
Yeah, this is like a broken record in a good way for him. Just so active, and going back to those points, I think Nathan Dennell continues to add more points. What an incredible ride the Swede has had here today. Let's see if he can do it one more time, as this finish will come up very, very quickly. You've talked about Zwiftcraft today, and this is one thing that goes beyond Zwiftcraft is heart. And that's what we've seen all day long from the team in orange and blue. Even if they don't get a result out of the day, they've certainly shown a real resolve to race with all class.
And we do see a move, though, coming from Jimmy Sendricks. Great to see this. And is this going to end up paying off here for Restart? This is when you got to go. The thing is, Dave, a lot of times we see the move way too late. You need separation before you actually hit this, and then you have to increase your separation as you hit these slopes. And as they get into that 10% grade, he does get it out to 3 seconds. Fulford now going with it, looks like here. This is interesting. We get a few riders off the front, Dave. They could roll through with enough speed against this pack. I do see feather power-ups now being blown. It is going to be Sendricks now. 8.5, 2 seconds up the road now. AVD, well, we saw Lou Bates do it, Dave, but this group here is pretty consolidated. Now, Team NL coming across, though. 2 are there. Fulford unable to make the juncture. It's only going to be 2 riders now. Jimmy Sendrick said this is a great arrow power-up, but Dave, that is an all-in move. To use the arrow right here, Dave, that says I don't care any longer. I am risking everything for this win right now.
Yeah, this is what it's all about. Completely committing, betting on yourself. And I know that the Restart team's got to be betting on this Canadian. It is time to Canuck up. And that is exactly what he's doing, dropping into the super tuck. Now, this finish line comes up quickly, but it can't come up quickly enough for this Canadian rider, Nathan. Certainly fortune favors the brave, but look what's happening behind him as Van de Vel, the Dutch rider, is now got the throttle open. It might be down to these 2 as they're rapidly running out of real estate. Can Jimmy Sendricks live up to his name? He sent it big time. Back to you, Nathan Guerra, for our finale.
6 seconds. Is he going to be able to hang on to it? Here comes the pack. They're rolling through. There's the fire socks. And now a team let's goes with over the top. Arrow power up 13 watts per kilogram. 71 kilometers per hour. Sendricks is going to get caught. Team CLS flying through. Now WLC with the lead out, though. Will they be able to hold on because Team CLS has the gap? WLC might be too late. They sat up and let the speed slow. Dury's got the gap. It's 1 second to the line. Dave, I think he's going to do it. It's right to the line. Here comes WLC. WLC with the charge. Renault Strymay. Food race there. Pullett's now coming through. He's going to get caught, Dave. It's going to be Pullett. WLC. Oh my gosh. It was too close to call. I think he did it by half a wheel length. Half a wheel length. Pullett, I believe, and WLC with the perfect timing. Did he pull it off? Oh my gosh, Dave, that was some of the best racing ever. The timings, it was amazing.
Real. Well, we'll have to go back and look at the back end API to see if Poulet was able to do it. Somehow I feel like he did, Nathan. That's just me channeling spiritually that finale. I mean, I've got goosebumps right now. That was absolutely incredible. What a run to the line here after 6 laps, 43K on what's really a fun Two Bridges loop course to race on. That's what it came down to. Now, the points, we'll have to go much deeper than that to look at all of the points, Nathan. And did Wahoo Lacole do enough here on the third race of this season to take the top of the table from the Boers? And who knows? It could come down to 1 point, but this is a replay of our finale. Nathan, that was thrilling.
Yeah, let's just call this really quickly here. As we can see, the kick there from Derde from CLS, that was the catch. He was trying to go all in from this moment at 71 kilometers per hour. I thought perhaps this would be the distance and the speed, the negative 3% gradient, as you can see, giving Derde as much as you possibly can, holding on to 70 kilometers per hour, Dave, with 500 meters to go. Here comes Barfoot, though, from WLC with the kick for his team. As you can see behind there, completely leading them out. He's all in at this point, trying to make sure that Poulet, as well as Kern and the rest there, are on the wheel. As you can see, Barfoot now fading to 9.2. Poulet is coming through with a massive kick at 11, leading everything out. Nobody even able to come over the top of him with that arrow power up now at this point, Dave. Right to the line. Enough looks to be there as Derde just caught. Yeah, there it is, Dave. Derde for second. It still is amazing. I mean, still amazing.
Got second.
But I think
Right,
that's Derde
exactly.
for second. I think that's Derde for second, it looks like. We'll have to wait to check it back once in a while. Our feed, to the servers isn't perfect.
Never know.
Isn't perfect. Good racing, though, Dave. Some of the best.
And I would say, yeah, absolutely, Nathan. And I would even say that second makes it all worth it. Even if he doesn't get the win there, that still was an ample reward for an exceptional effort. And that was what racing is all about. We all benefit greatly when they race like this. Women as well today. Today will go down as a banner day for ZRL. And big thank you to Martin working super hard at WTRL to keep things so exciting for us.
100%.
Well, actually,
well
Martin
Dave,
keeps it accurate.
This was really close, Dave, from what I'm seeing here. And again, there's server lag, everybody. Okay. It's all, so we got to make sure that everyone just understands. Acknowledging 100%. There's server lag, but it is going to be Poulet coming through. Go ahead, Dave, take us through these results.
Yeah, and so as Nathan said, that wasn't exactly what you might have think you just saw, but this will be accurate here with Paul Kearney coming through for second and Philip Utley in third. What a mix of teams as well. Like to point that out. But Wahoo Lacole, A4, taking the win with Ludovic Poulet. Fantastic. Paul Kearney for silver, Philip Utley for bronze today. This was at the finish line. But we're working on adding all of these points up because that's how we keep score in the ZRL. James Dure, big hero, and certainly a gold star next to the American's name after that ride today. All heart for Team CLS Alliance. He'll end up fourth in the finale, but certainly he takes a big win in courage. Rupert Gordon Watkins for fifth. Michael Podzalin, great job today by Podza in sixth. Jens Lilkrok in seventh. Jos Kastelins in eighth. Moritz Loop in ninth. Great riding from Loop today as well, the German there. And then Zach Herod for Wahoo Lacole rounds out our top 10. So that's only a very small part of the story today, though, Nathan.
Let's real quickly. Yeah, it is. It is because, I mean, if we take a look here, this is the points as they played out for the segments so far from what we have. So lots of points coming across for Danilo.
You notice Alex's name, Nathan, wasn't even in the top 10 there for the finish, but he was the most impactful racer of the day.
For the segment points, 100%. 100%. Yep. Hugely. So, I mean, this lots still to be calculated, everybody. So definitely you're going to want to head on over to WTRL.racing for that. Everybody, we do got to get going here. Thanks for tuning in. We will be back at you on Thursday for the wrap. We're on a break from Wednesday Worlds right now over on my personal channel. A lot of you have been wondering about that. We're looking to come back with some awesomeness with Wednesday Worlds, so be on the watch out for announcements for that. And you can also catch all of the Zwift Racing League of our community streamers. I always like to give them a shout out. Twitch.tv. Go check out the Zwift directory. Lots of people will be streaming. I'll be streaming tonight on my personal channel. And definitely go and support all of them. Zwift Grand Prix, the women's side of some of the best racing, Dave, that we have ever seen, I think, for these formats. Absolutely loving this new elimination through it's elimination reverse, right? That's the way that we're saying it.
Wasn't that fun?
Like,
Yeah, it's where you win and you're out instead of at the back end of the group. So, but if you win too early, you don't get enough points. Every one of the formats has been really fun.
well,
This one was,
I questioned the
yeah, I know.
motivation, whether or not there was going to be motivation in the riders. I couldn't have been more wrong. So in the wrap last week, I said,
Well,
I don't know, whatever. I actually got a message from some of the organizers from over at Zwift for like, did you like my format? I was like, I was so off. Like, I was like, wow, that was really, really good racing actually. And I think I think that format, because of the hunger of the racers, it really pulls that out of them, if that makes sense.
yeah. Absolutely. It was nail biting without any doubt. And actually, I don't even know that I'd say reverse elimination is my favorite of the formats, but it might be, to tell you the truth, because it's really straight ahead as well. So yeah, we've been having a blast on Fridays. The Zwift Grand Prix has changed what esports racing is all about. And to be fair, this is the model that the World Championships will be based on. So it'll be a little more like Grand Prix than it will be like the racing we did today. But so we're kind of comparing apples and oranges and pears and bananas now. It's getting more complex,
Wait,
and that's
what's going on?
to benefit with everyone.
Oh man, I love it. Mangoes, pears, bananas. What else did we have
Mangoes,
out there today? We
dragon fruit. Yep.
dragon fruit. There we go. We had all absolutely love it. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in. We really appreciate it. And if you want to watch back the broadcast, we have been live on Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Make sure to hit those follow buttons, like, comment. It helps out the stream a ton. And we will see you on Thursday for the wrap. Zwift Grand Prix over on Zwift's Places, and next week for round number 4. As always, everybody, thanks for tuning in and ride on.